often abused, rejected, stigmatized, and discriminated against in the society because of their skin. This group of people are referred to as albinos. These are people with albinism. To protect and secure the rights of this group of people, the United Nations declared every June 13 as World Albinism Day to address their challenges. Our focus today on Panorama is on albinism. How do they cope with the challenges of stigmatization, human rights abuse, and discrimination? What are the government policies and programs in helping them to overcome these challenges? But first, the news making the headline. I am Ademola Adeoye. We shall be right back shortly after this break. Stay with us. The acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, says the 2017 budget will bring Nigeria's economy out of recession. He said this after signing the over 7.44 trillion naira budget passed by the National Assembly into law. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
The 7.44 trillion naira budget of recovery and growth is over 140 billion naira higher than the amount presented to the National Assembly by President Muhammadu Buhari in December last year. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo, who formally signed the budget, said it provides a clear roadmap towards bringing the economy out of recession and placing it on the path of sustainable and inclusive growth.
Our economy is already signaling a gradual recovery as growth is headed towards positive territory. Our path to progress and abundance is clear. The tools are in place, and the resilient, resourceful, and hardworking Nigerian people are set to grow. I have no doubt that by the grace of God, the bleakness of recession is about to witness the uplifting dawn of abundance.
Over 2.1 trillion naira of the budget, the acting president said, goes for capital development, specifically in the provision of critical infrastructure, while 2.98 trillion naira is for recurrent expenditure. He said some recoveries made in the fight against corruption had been included in the budget, whose implementation will trigger activities in the domestic economy for job creation and more opportunities for employment.
We are focusing on 5 key execution priorities, namely 1, stabilizing the macroeconomic environment, 2, agriculture and food security, 3, energy sufficiency, especially in power and petroleum products, 4, improved transportation infrastructure, and 5, industrialization through support for micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises. For instance, we are committing over 200 billion to improve transportation infrastructure, such as roads and rail, and over 500 billion for investments in works, power, and housing, and 46 billion for our special economic zone projects to be set up in each geopolitical zone.
While commending the cooperative spirit exhibited by the National Assembly leadership, Professor Osinbajo mandated ministries, departments, and agencies to spend more of their budgets on locally produced goods. Senate President Bukola Saraki assured Nigerians that the 2017 budget will meet their aspirations for national growth and development.
If we can maintain the success of 2016, the percentage of capital implementation, that is good for Nigeria. The second most important part, which I really think is key, is the drive for Made in Nigeria to ensure that government agencies give first option to Nigerian companies. That would mean more jobs for our people and also be able to save on foreign exchange. And then continue to drive on agriculture and diversification. So it's great news for Nigerians today.
Both the executive and leadership of the National Assembly have agreed to, among others, the reinstatement of budgetary allocations for important projects like the second Niger Bridge, the railways, and Mambila Power Project, while the next appropriation bill is to be submitted by October this year for passage before the end of December. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
After 6 months of legislative process, the acting president, Yemi Osinbajo, accented to the 2017 budget to give hope to the nation's economic recovery and growth. Finance and economic correspondent Cliff Ayozie gives us an insight into the budget.
2017 budget of 7.441 trillion naira says the stage for its implementation to better the lot of Nigerians. 7.298 trillion naira was presented to the National Assembly by the President on 14th of December 2016. But the budget appropriation was approved with an increase of 143 billion naira. The budget passage is predicated on an oil price benchmark of $44.5 per barrel against $42.5 per barrel proposed by the President. Other benchmarks of oil production of 2.2 million barrels per day, exchange rate of 305 naira to a dollar, and GDP growth rate of 2.5% for 2017 were upheld.
Given the volatility in oil price, it would have been better if we had used that of 42.5, because as we speak, we are beginning to notice that crude oil price has been climbing down. It's been on and off.
The National Assembly increased the budget allocation to capital expenditure to 2.174 trillion naira, reflecting an increase of almost 6%, while recurrent expenditure stood at 2.9 trillion naira, with debt servicing increased to almost 1.7 trillion naira and sinking fund at 178 billion naira. As per se, of interest is the increase in statutory transfers covering organs on the first line charge by 3.5% at 434 billion naira. In this regard, the National Assembly increases allocation from 115 billion naira proposed to 125 billion naira, with over 85% representing recurrent expenditure, while the judiciary got 100 billion naira.
A situation where you have about 86 billion, going to overheads alone. Take a second look at that National Assembly budget. 86 billion going to overheads alone. Okay. I mean, for me, it's largely disproportionate. Where you have 11 billion for travels, you have 6.6 billion, about 6.6 billion for purchase of vehicles, you have 1.3 billion for refreshments.
Power, works and housing, 529 billion naira, transportation at 262 billion, special intervention 350 billion, defense 140 billion, UBEC 92 billion, water resources 85 billion, and industry, trade and investment with 81 billion naira, ranked top in the allocations aimed at economic diversification. The 2017 budget has a deficit of 2.35 trillion naira, other revenues to 77 billion, with 262 billion naira expected from domestic recoveries, while revenue from FARC at 3.29 trillion naira. But how much the 2017 budget will fast-track the economic recovery and growth plans of government is dependent on funds available and its effective implementation. In Abuja, Cliff Ayoze, NTA News.
Acting President Yemi Osinbajo has cautioned that unless social issues are given attention, unless social issues are given attention by the coalition of executive, legislature, judiciary, and civil society, the nation will continue to witness agitation for shares of natural resources. He stated this at a 3-day conference on law, security, and national development organized by the Nigerian law teachers holding at Nnamdi Azikiwe University in Awka, Anambra State. Gideon Ifade reports.
It is a trying time for the country, says Acting President Yemi Osinbajo, as he chronicles some of the challenges confronting the nation on security, law, and national development. Acting President Osinbajo says the people should look at the definition of security beyond military terms, but as that which includes the right to existence. The constant agitations for share of natural resources, he notes, is a product of individual deprivation.
In order to give our campaigns greater acceptability and resonance, we often characterize these personal deprivations as ethnic or religious agitation. The right to a decent existence, to education, to healthcare or jobs must not depend on how loudly my ethnic or religious group agitates. Certainly not. These are my rights as a citizen of Nigeria. It is the failure of the state to deliver on these essentials of life and livelihood that compels our people to run to their tribal and religious camps to seek succor by way of agitation.
Emphasizing the role of the executive, legislature, and the judiciary, as well as the civil society, the acting president urges them to live up to their responsibilities.
And I believe that these are challenging times and at the same time, time for great opportunity for those of us who not only have to think through this problem, but have to solve the problems. And of course, our society relies a great deal on our legal teachers, on our law teachers, to find answers to these issues. And not just to find answers to these issues, but to teach a new generation of students the types of problems and issues that are relevant to their own time.
The Buhari administration, he says, is doing well in addressing the challenges through its social investment program, but can still do more. Governor Willie Obiano also asks for more from the judiciary.
We arrest very notorious criminals, we charge them to court, they are released on bail. They go back to commit the same crime or even fight the people that arrested them and spend money and resources, arrest them again, charge them to court, they are released on bail.
Political will and creative solutions must be surmounted to devise lasting solutions to these problems. Undoubtedly, the instrumentality of law, whether in the form of legislation, civil rights and abilities, or the common law, is a sine qua non to such initiatives.
The acting president received the Distinguished Merit Award of the Nigerian Law Teachers Association for contributions to the law profession and the nation. He was also honored by the university. In Oka, Jide Onifade, NT News.
The federal government seeks to change the current landscape of domestic refining in Nigeria by setting a target to exit product importation by the end of 2019. This commitment was given by the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Ibe Kachuku, when he appeared before the Senate Committee on Petroleum Resources on ways to finding lasting solution to petroleum product supply challenges in Nigeria. National Assembly correspondent Ifeanyi Uzumba reports.
The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources explained that in order to exit product importation by 2019, there is the need to evolve a strategy that addresses operational challenges. He cited issues of refurbishing the refineries to nameplate capacity through the injection of private sector partner financing.
But we want to build refineries, build them, regular, all that. Just to find out what the difficulties are, because we have a duty to help them, help us get to that finish line. And I was very glad for Dangote to be saying that they're targeting meeting the 2019 timeline. Fantastic, because that would cover a big area of my water, which is the gap between the NPC refinery.
The committee chairman, Kabir Marafa, said it is a realizable goal and that the committee will encourage the initiative. On the issue of dismantling all refineries, the chairman had a different opinion.
Now is a brown field. That is an old refinery that is working somewhere, but it's not working fully well. They will now dismantle the refinery, come and assemble it side by side the new Kaduna refinery, or the old Kaduna refinery. And that is what we told them. That is not acceptable by the Senate.
In another development, the Committee on Legislative Compliance has urged the Nigerian Immigration Service, Nigerian Prison Service, and Federal Fire Service to ensure that the 2017 recruitment is conducted in an orderly manner.
They've been able to take 881, so it's a balance of 1,102. And we heard from the Director Secretary of the Board that once they have their budget, there will be recruitment across the services.
As we speak, we have the number of applicants state by state to the last minute as we sit here.
The exercise is a continuation of that of 2014. From the National Assembly, Ifeanyi Uzumba, NT News.
24 years after the annulment of the presidential election in Nigeria on June 12, 1993, stakeholders in a democratic project have called for the immortalization of late MKO Abiola, the Social Democratic Party of Nigeria's candidate in the presidential election. This was at the commemoration of the annulment of the elections. Tunde Saiki, who was at the event in Lagos, reports.
24 years ago, Nigerians participated in a presidential election described as the most free and fair in the history of election conduct in the country. The candidate of the Social Democratic Party, SDP, Chief MKO Abiola, was described as the acclaimed winner. But the election was annulled by the former military head of state, General Ibrahim Babangida. Abiola objected the annulment, fought to reclaim his mandate, which resulted in his detention and eventual death on the 7th of July 1998. In commemoration of the day, some Nigerians gathered at his residence in Lagos, where issues that late Chief MKO Abiola advocated while he was alive were raised. Speakers at the event called for the restructuring of the country and to ensure that the struggle for good governance and social justice, which Chief MKO Abiola stood for, must be the nation's guiding light.
Well, June 12 was a seed for Nigeria's democracy. It was a moment we missed as a people to unite as a nation, to build this country not only physically, socially, economically, but also mentally. It will not be wrong to say that Nigeria is still reeling from the effect of that very annulment.
The first thing is that the political class has refused to learn from history. If 24 years ago we had a Muslim ticket, and 24 years after Nigeria is in tatters, people are threatening from east, north, south, and west, then we have a big problem.
Is that the June 12 struggle is what is haunting Nigeria. And at the same time, the neglect of the Nigerian youth.
One of the sons of Chief MKO Abiola, Abdul Mumuni Abiola, however, said it would be better if those principles for which his late father stood for are implemented for the country.
I'm not really open to those kind of honors. I think if they really wanted to do something for my father, the best thing they can do is to, they can start by helping the people that voted for my father to really begin with. You know, those things will go a long way. Do something for education, sports.
Organizers of the event call on the Nigerian government to name one of the national monuments in honor of the late Chief MKO Abiola.
The late Chief MKO Abiola, all of us have always, been remembering on the occasion of this event, this anniversary. Every year, wouldn't have died for the kind of a disunited Nigeria we have right now.
And we are supposed to use the June 12th as a public holiday throughout the country. We are supposed to declare the June 12th as Democratic Day. If all these things are even done, it is even the gateway for us to see that people deal with fairness. It's the absence of that fairness and justice that is creating this agitation.
High point of the event was the laying of wreath and prayers at late Chief MKO Abiola graveside. The theme of the 2017 National Breakfast Prayers and Tributes in honor of Chief MKO Abiola is June 12th Movement and the Hope of Equitable Restructuring for Nigeria. In Lagos, Tunde Saiki, NTA News.
Yeah, you are still watching Panorama coming to you from Lagos Network Center. We told you earlier that today has been declared by the United Nations as the World Albinism Day. And I have with me in the studio Omolola Josephine, Lagos State Coordinator of the Albino Foundation, to talk more on albinism and their challenges. You are welcome, Omolola.
Thank you.
Now, what is albinism?
Albinism, to say it in a layman's term, is just absence of melanin, the chemical that gives the body its color. And it's a genetic disorder.
It's a genetic disorder. Okay, what are the effects of this disorder?
The effects is what you are seeing me, lack of pigment on the skin, the hair, and the eyes. And there's some people that have the effect only on their eyes. We call those one ocular albinism. But the ones with total albinism, like myself, is called oculocutaneous albinism, which is the skin and the eyes are affected.
Okay. And what are the challenges that you face as a result of these effects?
The greatest challenge for an albino that I would say is the effect of the sun on their skin. Why I call it the greatest challenge is a lot of people, especially in this our own society, doesn't even know why albinos have cancer or develop freckles are caused by the exposure to the sun. Because it's all backed up with several myths, like not eating salt and not doing so many things. Not eating crayfish, that is a source of protein, not eating some meat. You understand? So they don't really see it, and that is the greatest challenge that I see, because mere exposing the skin to excessive sunlight will lead to freckles, and from freckled skin we have precancerous cells, which now later develop to cancer. And that is one of the things that is killing a lot of albinos silently. But because of the part of the world we're in now, they will tell you it's an arrow, or there's evil arrow from somewhere that makes the place go swollen. Before they will now even come out to say it, the thing has eaten the whole skin. Because the albino cancer doesn't deal on other parts unless it just migrates. It eats the skin. It is the skin, and once it started, for it to be curtailed, I think the chances is rare.
Now,
that's why I call it the greatest challenge.
Okay, let's look at the challenges that you face, while mixing with the society. What are some of the challenges that you face? I mean, stigmatization, the discrimination.
Yes, there's the stigmatization, there's discriminations, but like what I used to tell people, people will discriminate. Even among people with melanin, people discriminate.
You still discriminate amongst yourself?
Yes, they discriminate among themselves. People who have normal color, don't they discriminate among? It's the way you see that discrimination and take it that matters.
Okay.
Though it's a challenge, because like some people will say it, that a lot of albinos looking for job, once they see them and they'll say, who employed this? Maybe because of all those myths surrounding them, that okay, they won't even give the person a chance to see, okay, can this person see? They'll say an albino doesn't see in the afternoon, he only sees at night, which is not true to certain extent.
Okay.
Though with the effect of the sun rays coming into their eyes, it may affect some. And as even people with normal color have challenges with their eyes, so also we have people with low vision having challenges too. But that does not mean an albino will have problem with that. And stigmatization, there are a lot, especially in this society, because they believe a lot of things. Some call albinos deities, some call them rejected people from the idols, so many things. And by the time you come in contact with some people, they'll say, why are you bringing this demon into our house? So a lot of things like that.
Now, how do you now cope with all these stigmatization, all these rejects, all these discrimination? How do you cope?
To me, if I'm using myself as an example, I'll say I was able to cope because from the background I was coming from, the family, the kind of place I've lived, it's a large house, a large compound, living with people, relating to people, extended families, they've always welcomed me. So by the time I go out to the society, in my secondary school to be precise, because my primary school I go from home, it's not much than people calling you names, which by the time you are 5-6 years as an albino, I expect you to get used to. Don't be moved by that, because you'll be used to that. But secondary school, I was the only person in my school that is a person living with albinism. And they give me so many names. But because I've already have an inbuilt in myself to be able to confront whatever comes my way, I was able to sail through.
Now let's look at government policies and programs in helping you to overcome these challenges. Would you say that there are right policies and programs in place to help you people overcome these challenges?
I won't say there's, I don't even think there's any, to be precise, that is functional. There's some put in place, but not really documented. Like, you know, I told you the greatest challenge is this sun effects on the skin causing skin cancer. There was a time we have in place in Abuja, where they normally treat the albinos with cancer free of charge. But there was a period it was stopped, and we have a lot of us dying.
Now, your foundation, now how do you rally around the albinos, you know, to educate them on how to cope with these challenges? Because, you know, there are a lot of them out there, they don't know what to do. Like, and they don't even know this foundation exists.
Like in Lagos State, anyone we come across, because we are hospital based, we have our meetings in the hospital, and we have one of our dermatologists that is very nice and sympathetic and so passionate about issue of people living with albinism, Dr. Mr. Jose. Anybody spotted with albinism will be referred immediately to the skin clinic.
Okay, so Omolola Josephine, this is how far we can go on Panorama. Thank you so much for coming to create more awareness on this issue of albinos. Thank you. Well, viewers, that's how far we can go today on Panorama, which came to you from Lagos Network Center. Thanks for watching. Good afternoon.